Welcome, guys, to the SBN Network podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and with me is...
I'm Scott.
Yes.
And I'm Scott. We know how to do intros now.
This is a podcast where we take some deep dives into some wonderful artists and kind of look at their account in a different way, which is always a little bit positive, a little awesome, and you guys can enjoy their accounts with us.
And now that we've gotten more professional, I try not to say any dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I try to at least always end on a good note.
So we begin.
Here it goes.
Oh yeah, that's my dot from going to the Toy Con today.
Oh.
It was a little happy face. Back in.
Very good. All right. Well, I'm going to start off with welcome, Amy. Thank you. This has been like a process in the making for over the last 6 months of trying to nail down some time during this crazy time. So I'm very excited to first meet you after like 5 years of knowing you, and two, get to see your collection and talk about your page. So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I know after all that buildup of waiting and finding a time that our schedules finally matched up, it's so nice to finally be here.
Yeah.
I am very excited that you're here because it's happened a couple times and it's now happened again. I did not follow your account before I knew that you were going to be on there, and now I found new stuff, and that makes me so excited. I love your page. It is awesome. You are so neat and organized, and I am not, and I love that. I love looking at it. It's very cool. So.
I loved seeing your photos of my style. I was going through them before the show, and I was like, this is really cool to see this.
It was fun.
You make everything look so great in black and white.
Thank you. It's interesting. You're another one of those photographers that was a little strange shooting in black and white for, because your color matters so much in your feed in general. Like the consistency. You're a really great example of somebody who has a very consistent feed, a very smart feed that's organized, and it looks like everything is intentional. Whether or not it is, you don't have to admit either way, but it all looks very intentional. It all looks very precise, and you get to flow with it, and day in and day out. Like each day looks like it belongs with the day before and the day before and the day before. There's, it's very cool, and I like that. And so yeah, it was fun going through, but it was weird shooting in black and white because your color means so much on your page. So.
It's funny that you say that, because I do intentionally try to make everything match. I put my photos in a folder before I post it, and I try to match up as best as I can, because I am very, very particular about if it looks the same. But I've been trying to branch out and, use different tones and lighting, because I'm comfortable with what I do now, but it is nice to change it up a little bit.
It is. It's important. That's been the fun of shooting in other people's styles, is I am very much like you. If you look at my feed, it's prior to this whole in people's styles theme. It was Star Wars, a general feel, general color, general tone. It would evolve a little bit, but I kept with a very consistent energy throughout the whole feed, and this kind of forced me to do some stuff that was not necessarily normal for me to do. So. Good. It's good to push yourself a little bit once in a while.
Yeah. I'm also going to say, Amy, you're the first person to email me with this picture goes with this type. This is what I like, first Nendroid, best Nendroid, like this kind of stuff. And I was very excited when I saw the email. I think I replied back really quickly, but it's very organized. And like Scott said, it's intentionally the way you set up your feed and your photos too, which we'll kind of go into. And if you're ready, I'm going to bring up, we have a little slideshow for your page, and then we'll kind of break it up a little bit and go through some of your collection too.
I'm excited.
Before we get going on this though, I want to know about your name, your handle. I got to find out. It's so cool.
So originally, the longest time my nickname was Amazon, because my friend gave that to me when I was younger. And I wanted to use it as my handle, but it was taken. So I had to do X and then Amazon. And it was bugging me so much that I had an X in front of my name. So I was like, let me try and find something no one else has. So I did Amy and Aimathyst, because because Amy, you can't really have a lot of nicknames for, but people call me Aim. So I just put the two together because I was able to use it as my gamer tag, my Instagram handle, Twitter, because that was the thing for me. I just kind of wanted something that no one else had. But yeah, it's funny because a lot of people, especially on Xbox, they think my name is Aimathyst with a lisp, like Aimathyst. They think that's what Aimathyst is. And I'm like, no, it's just my name with Amethyst. That's all it is. But yeah, that's the lore of my username.
It's very, very unique. So it's neat that were able to like use it on multiple platforms. So it's nice that you found something that's very you and very, you can use it everywhere. So it's very perfect. Yeah. So for your photos, you gave me these ones for like you wanted to show the growth in this because your account goes back to 2014, but I think you used it more as like a gamer profile because there was a lot of video game stuff and things of that nature. So this is your first actual toy photo from 2015. There you go.
I don't know what happened. That was weird. Okay. Anyway, what I was asking, are you still a gamer? That's all I was asking. I was just curious.
Yes.
Yes, he's still a gamer? Okay. I thought so.
I've been playing on console my whole life, but I just for our 3-year anniversary, my boyfriend got me a gaming PC finally because he's played PC his whole life, and so he's like, "All right, it's time to get you on that PC life." So now I'm on PC, but yes, I play video games every day. I've played it ever since I was younger with my brother, and that's why my page I started it because it started as a gaming page, and I'd post just like more video game related stuff. And then after a year I started collecting figures, so now it kind of shifted. I still post about gaming stuff from time to time, but figures are my my main focus now.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I think like when I think of you, Amy, I do think like of Mako, Miku, and then Levi are like my three things, even though I know you love One Punch Man so much, but like this figure is one of the figures that I love when you photograph her. So seeing that she was your first toy photo too was very exciting for me personally, as even just a fan of your page. So
yeah, she's my favorite to photograph. I think she was maybe my fourth android. And yeah, because originally like I had a few figures, but then I didn't get into it until I started following Captain Dangerous, Kylie. And like from there I just started, she just really inspired me to start doing toy photography, and the rest is what I've been doing the past 5 years.
I love that these two photos incorporate two elements that I feel like you have consistently used throughout your feed is the use of like tiny furniture, and specifically you seem to have an interest in tea.
Yes.
Which I've noticed. Okay, so I just
it's really funny that you noticed.
Yeah, so it seems like you're a tea enthusiast. I unfortunately
Indeed.
I had wanted to incorporate tea. I just don't own tiny teacups, so I was a little stuck with that.
Understandable.
And the use of florals and plant life, and specifically like blossoms and things like that. You do a great job incorporating that, even though the florals are not to scale with the figures that you're shooting, which I love. I love that because you use it more as a decoration than an actual flower. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not presenting itself as a flower in this image to the right. It's more of just the scenery around you. You can't really tell because it was black and white, but the two photos that I have, I actually put little like flower blossoms in the background as part of the scene, and just let them kind of blend into the background because I think that's a really cool use of, of a flower, is to use it as not a flower. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like using them to cover up negative space because before a lot of my photos would just have a bright white background and just no depth to it really. And that's why I like using just plants or flowers or something to like whenever there's like a sky or something in the background, just to add something to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it.
I think when I first started to like taking photos outside, I really liked the way, because I think you take these like in your backyard too, in your mom's house.
Yes.
You're always saying that you were in your garden and stuff, and so that gave me like the idea of even just from my front yard or using like just a random branch and something and starting that kind of journey myself going down there is from your page. So it's really nice. And Scott's right. You use like every element of this tree to basically make Mako shine. So it's nice. It's use of framing and negative space. It's a good way to put it.
Oh, thank you.
This next one is your actual 2021 Mako shot. And so I had to throw it in there if I can get it to move. And so you can kind of see that too. And I think it's adorable use of the Nendroid pieces and kind of just your household little items. And it's very you set up a scene where it just like you could see it in real life, not just as a figure. So I love it.
Yeah, I agree. And I mentioned that in my kind of description of what you do. You have a few different things you do, obviously, because you're multi-talented, but one of your elements that you concentrate on is the characters in very normal activities. I was going to use the word mundane, but I was worried that would come off negatively. But I don't mean it in a negative way.
No,
like they're just doing their thing. They're just living their life, being their best selves, like just doing whatever it is that little characters do. It's not about like, doing something heroic, fighting this and that. It's about like, that's it. There's just character, chilling, doing their thing. That's it. And I think that's really cool. And I really like that use of figures like this that are so, exaggerated and poppy and they punch, but they're just hanging. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. They're on the computer, they're in the kitchen. I love that. I really do.
That is also, it determines like whether I buy certain figures. Cause I have, cause I love shonen, I love action. But then I think, because I'll buy a figure of a character because I really like them. Then I also think if I can use them in a photo with all of my props and my little dioramas, because I'm not much of an outdoorsy person with photo. Like if it's flowers, trees, not like I know that like with stuff you always do like action shots, and I haven't gone into that before. I've always wanted to. It looks really awesome. I want to try it one day. But yeah, my comfort zone is like little home settings and just little minis and inside and yeah, I like that. Like you said, like the everyday thing. Like they even though they're from an action anime, putting them just doing like she's doing her laundry.
I know a lot of your props come from Nendroids. I apologize for my lack of knowledge. I'm just getting into Nendos courtesy of Steph here. Steph is teaching me the ways of the Nendo, so I'm getting there. I now have 4, so I'm on my way. But I know a lot of these like little odds and ends come with them. They come with the characters. They come with the figures and little like Nendo props. But do you ever get like? Do you buy a lot of like dollhouse furniture, dollhouse things like that are in scale?
So my favorite thing to buy for Nendroids that don't come with them is there's a line called Calico Critters or Sylvanian Families.
My son has some of those.
Yeah, they're the perfect size and they're pretty inexpensive. And then on the more expensive side, I like to get Rement. You can buy like a box set. I just ordered some, but they're pricier. Because I think this little laundry set was like $8 and it came with the little dryer and the little vacuum cleaner. But like with Rement, you get like this whole box set and it's usually like maybe 60 or 70. It's more detailed, but that's why I prefer Calico Critters over that because it's, it's inexpensive and it matches the look of Nendroids too.
That makes sense.
But then sometimes I make stuff like the little bookcase. And the diorama came from a do-it-yourself kit. I'm not super crafty with that stuff. I'm still trying to get better with it. That's why I rely on just buying pre-made, ready to go.
It's neat that the dio's made. I didn't know that. I thought that this was something for like a Calico Critter, like they have the houses and everything. So it makes sense now with the floor and everything going on. Because I have trouble with it too, with making it myself, which is odd. Just I get my hands stuck to stuff. I just figured that out. Like it happens. So it's really cool. And I know you're going to get it too, because you're really intricate with all the little bits, like all the stuff on the bookcase and everything. I would have gave up after like 2 shelves. So I can tell
that is impressive. Like I don't have that kind of patience to like neatly. Yeah. It's,
the worst is when like if I just shift it a little bit, it'll all fall over. I try to I'll use tweezers, or I'll just try to be really careful. But yeah, sometimes if I just bump it a little bit, everything comes tumbling down. I'm just like, I want to give up, but I gotta keep going.
Yeah. It's just like, you say you're comfortable with it, but it's just like one of those things. It's like playing Jenga, but it's like little tiny pieces. Oh, it's crazy.
It is. It's just like Jenga.
Now, you said this one was your favorite scale photo. This is like glorious, like quality, which you sent me through here. So I'm glad we got it through email and not through Instagram to dull it. Because one of the highlights, and Scott was hit on this already, your color palette is phenomenal. Mine's usually like the cooler tones. Like you hit like the right, like lavenders, pinks, like bright yellows so wonderfully, Amy. It's not even funny.
I do a lot of editing in Lightroom because my so I recently got the Nifty 50, but this lens was a knockoff of it. I got it for like $40 on Amazon, and I was just really happy with like that I was able to do this for me, because I've always wanted that depth of field. And yeah, at the time I was in college, so it's funny, like I'll spend all this money on figures, but then for my own camera, I'm really stingy with it. So that's why I finally upgraded. But yeah, I love this photo, meant a lot to me because I don't know if you know, I think it was in 2019, there was the arson attack on Kyoto Animation Studios in Japan.
Oh yeah.
And she's a character named Toru from Dragon Maid, which is one of my favorite series. And I think it was 30 people died in that fire, and they were in the middle of working on the second season for this. So I was like, I wanted to make like a photo to dedicate to them. Yeah. And it just worked. Like I was just really happy with how the lighting turned out. And just like, I was just trying to make something look, hopeful. Because yeah, at the time, like, it was like, I remember just reading the article at work that happened. And it was just really sad because it's like, I don't know these people, but they've made so many shows that I love. And I wanted to do something to, show my appreciation for them.
Yeah. No, it's even like shooting her from the back, because you do a really good job of getting things straight on. Like with Nendroids, I always end up turning them or tilting their head, and you always focus first. So the emotion you wanted to get from this is seen even with the way you like photographed this, with her running into the brightness and everything else. So it's a very great tribute to the great studio. Some of your favorite. I'd have to look up. I know they did a lot of stuff, and so I know I've probably seen a couple series. I haven't seen this one yet, and I always feel bad. I don't even know what I commented on there. I think you got another scale from this series, and I was like, I think it's from some kind of dragon something, and you let me know right away what it was because I need to watch it. So, but I do like. I know you said this is from like a different lens and everything, but this bottom like corner in the left where you can kind of see the nettles and stuff like that. That to me is something way appealing more than almost a figure sometimes, is the way nature kind of flows into with it. But it's beautiful nonetheless, the whole thing. So
thank you.
I love how she's kind of running off, and if you follow the curve of the flowers like into her, I love that. Just she's like, I don't know, it's almost like the flowers are kind of trailing behind her, and you've got the hair going. You've got all the brightness over on the right side because she's heading towards all of that. And then you just have this unbelievable, color palette over to the left. This is a wonderful shot. I really like it. There's a lot of positivity. And I mean, if you really start like digging into it, I'm sure there's even some, philosophical stuff that you could dig into. But there's some really, really good energy here. And where was this shot? Like, where were you when you shot this?
This was at home in a planter that we have on our front porch. My mom had just finished, I think it was during the summer. She just finished, she went to Home Depot, got some flowers and put them in the planter. And I was like, wow, this looks like a nice spot for some photos. Because it's funny, ever since I started like toy photography, whenever I see things, I think, this would be a nice spot for photos. Like, that's just where my mind goes. So I'm always just constantly looking for places because, yeah, I have my little dioramas, but, it's really nice when you find little spots outside, like in nature. And it stinks because now that I'm in an apartment, we don't really have room for like a garden or anything. So it was nice while I was at home, like, using, like, it means even more to me knowing that my mom planted these flowers, and, it's almost like she helped me with the photo in a way. But yeah, it was just right at home, right in our front yard.
It's really, really nice. And your mom plants really great flowers too, because they're really pretty. So it's perfect.
Yeah, she has a good eye for that.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to go into some action shots because, like you said, you don't normally do them. And so when this popped up, and I know it was for one of our challenges for action, and you took into this, but
okay, so this is for a challenge. This was
push
yourself a little out of your comfort zone. That's cool.
So Scott, this is One Punch Man. So
okay, thank you.
Yes.
I recognize the bald head. Like I do. I know that this is a character. So.
Yeah. When I think of One Punch Man, I think of Amy because, like, her page, she usually has, I think it's usually Gino's doing like chores and stuff like that and grocery shopping. But these two remind me of you. And the next one is going to be like, the next photo is just basically you with the Gino statue boxes because that was the one I picked for your selfies. But it's just, I was very excited when this popped up on my feed because it's still you. It's still so bright and full of fun, but it's so actiony and cool at the same time. I was very, very stoked when I saw this come on your page.
So even with action shots, I will still find a way to add like a lot of color because I want it, like I said, I try to make everything match like one way or another. And
it absolutely does. The highlights here are, even though it's a completely different style than what you do, your highlights feel exactly the same here as they do with like a little character vacuuming. Like there's no difference. And I think that is a testament to how consistent you are and how good you are at keeping that flow. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Sorry, keep going. I just had to make sure that people are recognizing how brilliant that is.
Oh, thanks so much. It's so nice.
What's the background on this? I want to know like what you used.
So the background's just a computer monitor. Mm-hmm. I forget what I looked up, but I wanted to find something with like fire, debris, just like make it look like a scene from the show. And the bottom, that's just Saitama's base. So I love when figures already come with elements that are, like 3D props I can use. So I wanted to make sure like that was in it because his base is supposed to be metal. And that's why I tried to look for a background that already had that metal because I haven't gotten into building big dioramas for scale figures yet. That's something I want to start doing. But in the future, I'd love to make like a diorama with debris and like looks like, an action scene. But for now, PC monitor makes a nice background.
It worked perfectly. I mean, little things, again, we don't need to go into, I always reiterate, don't need to go into whether you did it on purpose or not. Whether you did it on purpose or not, your subconscious mind was definitely doing it on purpose. The fist and arm falling into that flame across the back. The tone of the red of the glove could have easily blended in if it had just been a little bit farther over to the left or a little bit to the top, but it just fits right into that little orange pocket so nicely. I think that is super, super cool. And the tones of his outfit and the background mesh so well together. He still stands out against it, but yet he flows into it simultaneously. Like it's so important. Like that color, like it easily could have been off and it wouldn't have had the same, great power that it does, but it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I love that. I really do.
It's funny that you say that because I don't think it was intentional. And like it's really like this insight's just really nice because like you notice things that I overlooked myself. And you're right. If he was over just a little bit, like it would blend in.
Yeah,
and
his fist would have blended right into that little red spot over to the side. And but here you see it pops. It's there. It brings all your attention to that fist. And I mean, I think that probably makes sense based on the character. Again, not having super knowledge here, but it seems based on his name that it would make sense that
it's what he does best.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd probably want to look at his fists. Yeah, just placement. Everything's just great. It's such good, just great framing, great styling. I love the fact that he's not dead center. He's just off center, where like the edge of his, I guess would be his left arm, is kind of like the center of the frame. So I think that's pretty neat. And I like the way his cape kind of like blends into the shirt next to him. It's cool. It's really cool. Well done.
Thank you.
We're going to go to just like, because you do have a lot of your haul pictures, as we called them earlier. This one's one of my favorites. I think this is the first like real, like huge scale, like statue purchase that you got. And like the boxes compared, like it's always surprising when they come to your door how big they are. But this is a good representation of that, like surprise and like, oh, this is perfect.
How big
I knew
is
that was like, how big is it?
Yeah, how big is the thing that's in this box?
So, when I show you guys my figures, I'll show them later.
Okay.
He's about, I think it's like a 20-inch tall statue, because they shipped him in one box and then his base in another because it's so big.
Okay.
Because it's not actually, like these two boxes put together like in one figure.
No. Yeah.
But they just shipped it with a ridiculous amount of packaging so it didn't break. But the boxes were so ridiculous. I was like, all right, I have to take a picture of this, because when else am I going to get something this big in the mail,
So cool. So cool.
You just need did they make a Saitama one? Like in a One Punch?
They did. I wasn't a huge fan of how they did it. It still looks really nice. But Genos is my favorite, so I had to get him. Maybe down the line, if I see him going for a good price, maybe I'll pick him up. But for now, just Genos.
I love your setup. I love that your setup and the way that you present your figures just in the day-to-day life matches the aesthetic of your Instagram feed. I think that is wildly cool and wildly consistent. It's so, I intentionally decided to put a photo of myself for like one of the first times ever on Instagram because of the fact that you do it. But it's not just that you do it and still keep it with your flow. It's not just like, oh, here's a bunch of toy photos, selfie, toy photos, selfie. It's not. It's like it goes with your rhythm. And that is, I would say, very unique to your feed, that you're able to do that. Because I've seen there are lots of people out there who will post themselves, or, maybe they combine like their cosplaying with their action figure, whatever. But it's like it's seamless. It's like, oh, okay, we go from Nendroid to you, to scale figures, to you, to Nendroids. It's like, it doesn't feel like something different. It still feels like your feed. So very cool.
It's so funny that you notice this, because I always try to make everything match. Like if I'm posting something, it has to be related to everything around it. Mm-hmm. So if I'm posting, like, even if I'm posting like a video game picture, like I have to include figures or something. Mm-hmm. And then with selfies, I have to include like some nerdy element to just make it tie together. Because like this is my I just call it my toy Instagram. And I have my personal Instagram, which is just me and, like everyday things. But it means a lot that you notice that, because I do try to just make everything cohesive. Because even though I know some people have like filters that make their feed look consistent. For me, it's like what's in it and just the lighting. Like I try to just make it all match so that it looks good, like in one whole page.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question just off the cusp. If you had to give up toys or gaming, you had to get rid of one from your life, which would be easier to get rid of?
Ooh. That's a tough one.
Horrifying. It's a horrifying thought.
I've gamed my entire life, and like usually my downtime, like I play video games with my friends. Mm-hmm. With my figures, it's like I have all my friends like online, like on Instagram. So it's like both sides have friends attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd have to say that figure collecting has brought like the most joy to me and like helped me. I feel like I've grown more as a person through it, like in some ways. So I'd probably have to say give up video games as hard as it would be.
Don't worry, you don't have to do that. That's not like part of this show. We don't actually make you give up one of your passions.
You're gonna
Like,
have
at the end, we sit there and say,
Yeah.
okay, well, thank you for being on, and now you have to give up one of your interests. Like,
Yes.
that's not how we roll. But I was just curious, just as somebody who, you know, is very enthusiastic about both, like, what would be harder to let go of? It's just interesting.
because yeah, it's like one side of it is creative, and the other side of it is like relaxing or like a social activity. And that's why, like with figure collecting, I can take my photos with it. So I stick with that because it just, you know, it brings like the creative side out of me when I can't normally do that. Like, because I love art, I love photography, but like, you know, like I go to work and I don't do any of it that there. So it's nice to come home and then have like this hobby that, you know, lets me express that side.
Good. I can relate. Gotcha.
Scott's coming in with the hard questions.
Yes, yeah, that is a hard one.
I don't know why. I mean, I just had so much fun today. I'm in such a crazy, thought-provoking mood. So
It was funny. I was playing with the PowerPoints and your photos like actually increased. Like you could bring them up to this full without it being like kind of weird looking. Like there's no like weird blurs or anything. So I was super excited that I could blow them up this big because it's better for people to see everything going on and also just seeing all your little details and everything like that.
so cute.
Yeah.
So cute. I love cute things. I am obsessed with like cute things. And this just it just makes me more excited to continue shooting cuter figures. I just like her expression and the posing here, the surrounded by all of her joy. It's so good. It's so good. And yeah, again with your framing and your placement of the figures, you're so smart about it. You're so smart about it. Nothing looks like an accident. And I really do love that, down to the littlest props, like the placement of the donut. I'm assuming it's a donut. Looks like a donut in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was for Donut Day.
Okay, yeah, it's just it's fantastic. And her head is tilting right into it. It looks so good. Like you just took a bite. It makes me so happy. So happy.
This was another one of those Calico Critters toy sets. It came with the little donut maker, and this character, her name is Shinobu. She's from the Monogatari series. She loves donuts, so one of my things I like to do is take photos for like International whatever day, like International Cheese Day, International Donut Day. So I always use her for International Donut Day because I just have to.
So cute. It's so cute. Love it.
I also noticed like when I was going back through and kind of looking at it, the way you get the eyes defined on all of the pictures that you do, like they seem to like pop really well. And it's not that they pop because they're like brightened. They pop because they're like, you've actually made them and focused on them for that part of the figure. And for Nendroids, the faceplates for me are like one of the main reasons to get them. So it's super excited that they're all highlighted in every Nendroid shot that you have. So I was trying to focus on that for my challenge photo. So we'll see how I worked it out. But I can tell in this one too, because you can even see her like little cheek things. So she's excited. It's super cute. So
I like to I use the dodge and burn tool
to
make their eyes pop, because I like to try and keep it as natural as possible. But with the eyes, I like to go a little crazy with. And sometimes I post like a before and after to show like what I did. But I always use
go over
the
the top
tool
though.
I try not to go. I try to just like highlight what's already there.
Yeah.
But it's funny if you compare them, you'll see like how much I actually changed. Because the eyes, like you were saying, like they're just the biggest part. And I like to, if I'm going to emphasize anything, I'm going to emphasize their eyes and their face.
The other thing I feel like you're really good at, and this is just for those of you like me out there now learning how to shoot Nendroids, the nose doesn't disappear, even though your highlights are very strong and you have a lot of brightness coming in on the face. For like our Hasbro listeners out there and whatnot, that has been such a weird thing. If I try to brighten up a photo too much with a Nendo, its nose just vanishes. And I'm like, where did its nose go? And you can, there is a nose there. She clearly has a nose, even though this is a bright, crisp photo with tons of white and tons of highlight, it's still, there's the nose. And it is, that was the first thing I noticed the first time I shot Ray. I took a few photos, and even in the camera, I was like, oh my God, her nose is gone. Oh no, what have I done? And then I realized that that's, oddly enough, something you have to kind of be aware of with these little guys. Like, just the way that they're designed and the way, where the light is coming from can make their little noses vanish. But you're very clearly an expert in this field, so I love it.
Because sometimes, like in the background, like those windows, one of the things I struggle with is not letting the windows wash them out, because there's a lot of just white light coming through. And I'll try to put like plants or greenery behind it. But after I edit the photos, like, and brighten them, it usually disappears. So that's something I'm trying to work on, because I don't like having a ton of like white negative space. And it works with the windows because it has like a little frame, and like her hair, still stands out against it.
The figure well in that. That's the thing you do. You don't let that negative space take away from the image ever. Like, I know there's a lot of people who really hate like bright highlights. Like, even like my father, if he's listening right now, he hears this, he's gonna yell at me. He hates hotspots in photos. I don't mind it. I enjoy it if it's done well, and if it's done intentionally. If you can still see the figure, if you start to lose things and lose detail because of a hot area, okay, that's fair. I get that. But like, you don't do that here. Like, yeah, you've got those bright windows, but it's very clear where her hairline is. It doesn't, get all choppy, and you don't start to lose information. So that's, you do it well. I can understand not wanting to do it, but what you have done with it has worked for your style perfectly. So.
Well, thank you. I know it's something, because if in my older photos I was looking at it, and the light just kind of overpowers them. I'm trying to, because my editing process, usually I brighten the backgrounds. And when I do that, if I up the highlights or the exposure, it just kind of washes everything out. And I'm still trying to work, because I'm still trying to get used to, since I moved to a new place, I'm getting used to the lighting and just trying to get a style down again. Because I had my style down in my old bedroom, because the lighting I was familiar with it. But this apartment's a little darker. So yeah, it's definitely an adjustment.
Do you use Lightroom to edit?
I do.
That your typical?
I use Lightroom and Photoshop.
Okay, so you use both. Do you use the curve tool at all? Do you mess
I do.
With that? Okay.
Yes, that thing is a lifesaver.
It is. I was going to say, especially when you're dealing with like highlights like that and you're really trying to fix them. Sometimes I feel like when you start working with the little tabs with the highlights, whites, shadows, and blacks, you can get a decent amount. But when you start like pinpointing particular zones using the curve, like, I feel like it's a little easier to pull back some of those areas that make it a little out of control for what you would hope for.
Right.
But yeah, Lightroom is it's great. It really is. It does almost everything you could possibly need. Like, it's wild, and it's grown so much. I don't know how long you've been using Lightroom, but like, I think I started with Lightroom 2, maybe. Like the second edition of Lightroom, and it didn't have nearly as much as it has now. Like, even its black and white function wasn't that great early on. Like, I would use plugins for Lightroom to edit in black and white because of the fact that its black and white editing software wasn't that great. Now what you can do with Lightroom is amazing. It's amazing.
Because yeah, before, I don't think I started using Lightroom until maybe 4 years ago.
Okay.
Was it 4? I can't remember now. But before, this was such a lengthy process, but I would duplicate the photo, erase the background, and then on one I would brighten it, and the other was like the foreground. Like, It was such a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But with Lightroom, it just cuts that editing time in half. Like, it's
huge.
It was
a huge difference. You don't need, like, and don't get me wrong, I do use Photoshop. There are things you need Photoshop for that Lightroom just cannot quite handle. But yeah, you don't have to always be using layers and this and that to try to fix things anymore. That's the great thing about Lightroom is it's just all there. You just start clicking and it, thinking and doing it how you want. You don't have to worry about all the extra. But, yeah.
Do you have any other like lighting, or are you just using all natural light?
So I use all natural light. And then recently, I bought it's what I'm using with my phone right now. It's like a selfie ring light. And I've tried using it in some photos, but I can't get it down yet. I'm just trying to experiment because usually I like only take photos when it's sunny outside because I want that natural lighting. But there's, it prevents me from taking photos on cloudy days. And it's like, well, I know there's other ways to use artificial lighting to get what you want in a photo. Because usually I rely on Lightroom for just getting that desired effect. Because straight out of my camera, it's usually very dark, despite the fact that I up the lighting on it and the exposure. But it's definitely something I'm still trying to. I rely on natural lighting a lot, but I want to try and tinker with my camera more and find the right setting to get what I want. Because it would be nice not to have to edit it so much, but.
Yeah, but editing is part of the process at this point. Even do you shoot in RAW or do you shoot in JPEG?
I shoot in RAW.
You do shoot in RAW, so that's the thing. If you're shooting in RAW, I mean, yeah, you obviously want it to be as close as possible, but realistically, you're just trying to get as much information as you can possibly get into that gigantic file, so that you can make it look the way you intended for it to look. If you were shooting in JPEG all the time, I'd say, okay, yeah, try to make it as, accurate as you can to, your goal, your end goal. But when you're shooting RAW, I mean, that's part of the process is the post process. The post process is part of the main process of that. So.
Oh my God, what do we have next? We have your favorite Nendroid figure, which I was surprised about.
Oh my God.
So this was also for a photo contest. It was my friend. He had, I think it was specifically Vocaloid or Miku themed. And this one, I don't know, it's very simple, but I just love how it turned out. And it's probably my favorite, still my favorite Nendroid photo. Like it has been, I think it's maybe 2 years old now, but I still I'm really happy with it.
Something really cool in this photo that, again, may or may not be 100% intentional is that in the corners, you have these two little like slanted lines that almost create like a vignette effect. So you have like a little, like a little triangle in the top right corner and like a little triangle in the top left corner. And it creates almost like a natural framing of the character. I thought that was really neat that you did that. This is a cool photo. I really like how even it is. It feels really even. You can see all the props and all the details. That is something you do very, very well. Your photos don't live in a lot of like dark shadow. There's very little that hides. I think Steph and I both, will have a tendency sometimes to kind of like hide stuff in our photos. Like we'll bury things in shadows here and there. Everything is pretty much visible in every single one of your photos, which I think is fascinating. But yeah, this is a cool one. I like that. I like that figure. So cute.
Yeah, she's I like to collect all the Snow Mikus. I think she's Snow Miku 2014. And I don't know if you're familiar with the character, but every year there's a contest and people design like her winter outfit. And this one was like, she's like a magical girl. And I just had like a picture in my head that I wanted to make it look like she was studying. That's why I have all those little books. And I think the symmetry that you mentioned is something that makes this one of my favorites. Like it's just so, I guess it's like simple and clean to me. And yeah, something about it. It's still just one of my favorites.
I like the window in the back too, like the way your dial is. You definitely like focused in on this one part of the setup. I didn't notice that it was like a triangular shape until Scott just said something, and it is very clean to the eye. So yes,
This was actually from a dollhouse that my grandpa built for my mom, and she gave it to me. And this was in the attic of the dollhouse, and I thought it would be like and then I just put that little spinning wheel. What is it? I forget what it's called for sewing, like the loom. I just thought it added like to the kind of like the not dusty, but it's kind of like a dusty attic feel.
Even the fact that you put a broom like just chilling over there, like that has that feel. It's like, this is all just, a hazy, attic space. So cool.
Yeah. It's really, really cool.
Lantern is cool. I like that lantern a lot. I would have way too much fun with that. I put that in like every single one of my photos.
I think I got it from Hobby Lobby.
Did you really?
I think so.
Great. It looks so good.
Let me see what else we have next.
Oh man.
One of my rare Figma photos.
Again, with that foliage and the flowers and the leaves and just using it as a scene enhancer. So cool. So cool.
It's just a very bright depth of field too. Like you can see stuff in the foreground, but you can't really. It just narrows your scope right into the figure, and you're really good about that. Especially for like she's having tea, obviously by herself, but you can definitely like go into her.
She's having tea.
Of course, yes.
So,
what's your favorite tea? Number one tea.
It's either I switch between green tea and Earl Grey. Okay. Very basic teas, but they're classic and I love them. That's awesome. I also like chamomile, but that's more so if I want to go to bed. It'll put me to sleep. But because I love any tea, but I always just like the classics as well. And I also like go between both.
Perfect. Do you have a lot of mugs and stuff in your house? Because we have a ton over here. So
oh yeah, we have so many. And I left a bunch at home because I was like, there's just not enough cabinet space for this. And I always end up using the same ones anyways. So it's like, I have all these, I'm like a mug hoarder.
We started getting the ones from like the Pokemon Center and stuff. And then Devin's like, I don't want to use them. They're just going to stay up here and not be seen. And I was like, that's not helpful. So
that's how I feel whenever I buy like a specialty mug. Like I have like this little Good Smile Company mug. And I was like, like this is like, to me, it's like a collector's item and I can't use it. So then I just have all these collector mugs that I don't even use. And it just adds to the pile.
It works out. We get your black and white challenge photo.
So that is cool. I'm going to be on. Is that okay? Help me out, both of you. Is this figure posable or is this like a statue? Like
it's like a statue scale figure, so she doesn't pose at all.
Gosh, you use the pose that it's already in so perfectly. This is great, and look, and you like incorporated some of like my favorite elements of your photography. You've got the floral, you've got the bright whites. This is, and man, she stands out against the light backdrop. That is really cool. Your contrast is like fire. So good. Yep.
It's funny. It's actually my boyfriend's figure, and I like because we kind of merged our. I have way more figures because he's more into collecting Warhammer minis now. He still has some anime figures from when he did collect them, and I used it for this photo. And he saw me editing it, and he was like, "What? I didn't say you could use that." But I was like, "I'm sorry, I needed to use her because because he's a huge Fire Emblem fan. She's I think her name's Tarja from Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
And I've only played a little bit of it, but I love this figure despite not, knowing as much about the game. But like when I knew I had to do a black, because I don't have a ton of dark figures in my collection. It's a lot of bright. So I knew like, she's already like dark and moody. So I was like, this will be perfect to use.
The placement and everything, the way her hair goes off, like, I mean, it's like you utilized the pose that the statue is in just wonderfully. It's like you were photographing a model and you asked them to get into this pose, which is super cool. Yeah, I like that you use some real life stuff in there too. That's another thing that we didn't really talk much about, but I love the this is something I haven't really experimented with, but I'm making myself a promise that this year I'm going to do this, is putting toys into the real world. So like, I know you sometimes will place figures with um, a full size teacup or full size food and things. You know what I mean? I like that, and it's something I haven't experimented with, but I really, 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 really want to. I like those little bottles off to the side. They go so well. I feel like it gives you a little bit of it gives you a little more perspective with the photo. I like having that in the foreground. It's pretty cool. But great shot.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, one of my that's another thing I like to do is taking pictures of my figures with either food or like big things, that like everyday things. And I don't know what you would even call that, but because like whenever I get like I take like a lot of photo whenever I get like sweets or like macaroons or something, I was like it just looks cute with them.
Mm-hmm.
And like because yeah, like I said, I don't have big dioramas for them. So when I have like real world things, I like doing like a setup with, everyday big items. And it just, yeah, I don't even know what you would call that, but it's just fun, like incorporating them with just stuff lying around the house. It's fun to do from time to time.
Yeah.
It is an art style, though, like Scott says, because I've tried it a couple times and it does not work with my eye. So you have a very big knack for how the colors go together. Again, this is part of your process and getting everything to match. Yeah, it's really good. And like macaroons, they're colorful and they're going to be cute and everything else to go with this. This figure is one of my grails. Just so you know, you can tell your boyfriend that Devin's going to be super jealous.
It's funny because I've always liked her. Like I've seen her just floating around like on pictures, and when I saw it, I remember when I saw his collection for the first time, I was like, "Ooh, this is nice." I'm going to be using this for photos.
Mm-hmm. And so even like the lines for the figure, because I've been starting to like kind of take more scale photos, they're really hard because they're already posed, they're already set up to actually kind of focus more on them too, because you can't really reuse them a lot. I've noticed like you have to like think of like only a few shots for them. But I think you do use yours a couple times in different types of things, like, or maybe it's just a lot of Mikus on there too, because they're so cute. But I like it that the variety, even with the same figure, you utilize your collection so well. So this is a great shot, like Scott said.
It was fun because my camera has a black and white setting, and I've never used it before. And I was like, well, this is perfect for doing the black and white challenge. And
what do you shoot with?
I have a Canon, I think it's T6i.
T6i.
Mm-hmm. And then I bought the Nifty 50 lens for it. And it's definitely much better than the knockoff one I had of it before. But I still want to learn how to shoot manually, because right now I think I do creative auto. Mm-hmm. And because I remember like one of my friends was showing me how to like tinker around with it and try and get the ISO levels, I think.
Like the f-stops? Are you trying to like get the depth of field and stuff like that? Yeah.
Right.
F-stops.
And that's something I want to learn how to mess with more, because I just love when there's a ton of blur and focus. And yeah, for now, creative auto is my comfort zone.
But it is fun. I think you'll enjoy it, and I think you're going to get a lot out of it when you start playing with manual modes. It's going to take you to another space, because when you have all that control, you can make the photo exactly what you want it to be. There are some times where, I don't want there to be much background at all. But then sometimes, I actually want more background than what like an auto setting would give me. Just occasionally, especially if I'm shooting really telephoto and I want to kind of mess with people's heads a little bit. Like I really enjoy, trying to get more depth of field, and it typically wouldn't think to do that, especially if you're shooting in an auto setting and it sees you focusing on one particular character. It's going to naturally drop your f-stop down a little bit. So I think you would have a really good time with some manual settings and digging around. So
yeah, one of these days I'll finally, once I get the hang of it, then I can finally branch out from that.
All right. So I took pictures. This is an Attack on Titan thing. So what I wanted to try to focus on was the eyes in the figures. And also because I had to have Levi, I tried to do a cleaning one. I just didn't get it accomplished. So this is one of those things where I was trying to like focus more on them because you do a really good job of focusing on the figures. And I still could not get my brights to line up. You have like phenomenal use of the other side of the spectrum where I don't have much comfort in. So it was interesting.
You got highlights though. You got like really serious whites. You have clear vision on the eyes. They are right there. I like that you got a little bit of that like backlight haze that sometimes Amy gets in hers. Like if she's got like a really nice, like in somebody's house doing something, like she'll get that kind of like window light effect. This is cool. This is really cool. Those figures are neat.
I love the lighting on Hanji's face because like the glasses like add like that shadow too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the lighting on their face because you can tell they're looking down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's probably something there that Hanji finds amazing, and Levi's like, "Why?" Kind of their dynamic. So, and then we're gonna.
I was just gonna say the plants, like the idea again of they just become part of the scenery, not that they're actual plants; they're just background. Is very cool. I like it.
Yeah, I love it. It's awesome.
Thank you. Scott's he did really good.
Oh God!
Yeah, I got to see them before because I saw you post them. I loved them.
I was like, when I was trying to come up with, so I didn't know what exactly. I was like, I felt like I was in a Star Wars mood still, but like I kind of wanted to bring Star Wars into your universe, like the world that you kind of create. And so I was like, okay, so Rey and BB-8 are like cleaning up the lightsaber that she left in the middle of the floor or something. I don't know. I was trying to come up with like what in the world the two of them would be doing in their home with a lounge chair together. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I got this. This is probably one of the most high key photos I think I've ever taken. And Steph, you might even know better than me. I don't know if I've ever shot a photograph on my own that was as high key and as bright as the photos that you shoot. So this was a fun little stretch for me. And yeah, I had fun. I wanted to get those plants in there. I wanted to, have a light backdrop and try to make the head stand out. It was fun. I had a really good time shooting your look. I had a really good time going through your feed over and over again. Like I do. I've been scrolling through for the past like week and a half, just like going, and then I go back again, and back and forth. And it was really awesome. And it's
so nice to hear that you enjoy it because like a lot of things I post like I like to make it all go together. So like it means a lot that you scrolled through and you saw that. And like in this one, I love because the plants just add like such a nice layer to the background instead of like, just all white. It's like it's just such a nice touch.
I just like that you took the Nendroids out. So that's super exciting.
I know, you're so proud. Steph is so proud of me right now.
We kind of just go in an image because we're going to get ready for your because your tour is going to be amazing because I want to see your collection. But I had to end with Hestia here too because this figure is gorgeous. And so just kind of, again, where they can find you, your Aimathyst is scrolling across the bottom so they'll be able to see it and everything else. We can give a shout out for other pages because I think you do Twitter and stuff too. Tour, yeah. Let's get this rolling.
Where can we find you? Do you have Twitter? Do you have a Facebook account for this stuff too? Or do you really mostly focus on Instagram?
So I mostly focus on Instagram. I post on Twitter on occasion. Like sometimes I'll go in there a few times a month. Mm-hmm. The second place that I post the most on is myfigurecollection.net.
Oh, that's right.
It's the anime figure database. And you can also share your photos. So I do that a lot. And then recently I've started doing Reddit a little bit. Not so much for toy photography, but more of just like collection shots and like sharing that. But yeah, I do have my Twitter. It's the same. And same with Reddit. All my social media, if it's got my username. It's probably me.
Go.
There we go.
You did it. You're a genius.
All right. So let me just kind of, let's see. I don't know if you can make my camera bigger. I might need to. It's kind of nice to make it on myself.
I got to ask, IKEA shelves?
Yes. Billy bookcases with, I think they're called the Augsburg doors.
Yep. That's what I've actually been looking at recently. There we go. Yep, that's good.
Better. All right. Yeah, let me kind of just give you, let me step back and just kind of give you I have all my figures on this one wall over here.
I'm going to solo layout you and see if that works.
Yeah, that's good. They don't need to see our faces right now.
Things off really quick. There we go.
Okay, you're really selling me on these. Like, I've seriously, I've been looking at these. We have an IKEA by us, and I've kind of been checking it out periodically.
Yeah, they're great because they're pretty inexpensive. I think for the two with the doors, I think it was like $2 something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it definitely beats paying $1,000 for a solid piece of furniture at a store, you know, and it works out really nice. And then the glass ones also, all of this is from IKEA for the most part.
Oh, I figured it has that, but it all matches so well. It was a sign that it was probably IKEA. That's the great thing about collectors and IKEA. Like it's like they cater to us, I swear.
They do. They really do. But all right, so I have it sorted. Over here I have my scale figures on, so that's me. Open this up and get rid of that glare. So yeah, we have 3 cats, so definitely need doors. So I try to sort it by series and by scale. So on the top is all my Madoka girls. Mm-hmm. And then down below that's kind of just like a magical girl shelf. And then here is just kind of a mix of things. It just, wherever it can fit. I'm starting to run out of room here. And then more like I try to stick series with each other. Like I have all of the girls from Is the Order of Rabbit together. And then I have down here I have the they made My Little Pony anime figures, which I grew up on My Little Pony. And it was
I love My Little Pony.
I loved that they made anime figures for them. And I have some Miku. I have a ton of Miku figures coming in actually. So once I do, I'm probably gonna get a bookcase just for her. And then down here is kind of like the shonen shelf. They're darker figures. And yeah, I got my little One Punch Man figures down there.
I didn't realize that Saitama and Genos were separate figures for that shot. That's really cool.
Yes. Yeah, I took him off of his base and just kind of like made them overlap onto Saitama's one base. And I love this new pop-up parade figure that Good Smile's doing because it's just really nice. They're nice and small, and they're really nice.
They're good quality for the price. Yeah.
They really are. And then over here I have
all the
my
Nindroids.
all my Nindroids. Yeah, this is the main thing I collect. Scale figures were kind of like I just started doing those.
Yeah.
But
help me out. Are they all? Do you have them sorted by character, or do they just all happen to match color wise?
So all these are the same except for the blonde ones in the upper left-hand corner.
Okay.
They're all just different versions of Miku.
Okay.
Yeah, every year, like the ones on the right are all her, like the Snow Miku. This is that one that I used in that photo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every year there's a new design, and I've been trying to get all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So working on that. So again, so up top is just kind of I have all my Madoka girls again, and then I put all my Figma up there because I am running out of room. That was the only place they could go. And then here I have all of my video game and Nintendo Nendoroids together. And originally I had those by my desk, but I really wanted to just have my collection all in one place, so gave them their own shelf. And in the middle is these are all my Miku and my Vocaloid Nendoroids.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you the overall view of it, or didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try that. Let me put it on the front again.
How many Nindroids do you have? I'm just going to ask you why we're doing all this too. So,
I believe I'm at 150 at this point.
That's
I wonder if low power mode affected it.
I'm pretty sure because now you're like 100% back to normal. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must
I
have
think
been
that's
like a
what it
mix
was.
of the back camera and the Wi-Fi and
then going to 20%, like all of a sudden, because that I was saying that happened to Patrick when he was on. It's also happened to me before. If I'm doing like a Zoom thing on my phone, all of a sudden my connection goes to crap the minute that I go into low power mode. So I think that's just the nature of it.
we got to see quite a bit of it. So, like the next few photos, I think you have some more scales on the other side. Is pretty much because all your Nindroids are they in that main cabinet right there behind you?
Yes, yep, that's all of them. Because like I said before, I had them above my desk, and then I wanted to just have them all in one place. And but yeah, I try to keep it sorted by scales on one side, Dendroids on the other. But I'm running out of room, so I might need to get another bookcase or just start kind of mixing them around. But
yeah, especially, are you planning on getting any more like the statues, like the big one, like you have of Geno's?
So I do have a Diva statue. I got it from Blizzard had a sale, and I caved and I got it. But I still have to unbox her, and I've been putting it off because like for a statue that big, I wanted to do like kind of a dedicated unboxing video, but that's just me. It's just me putting it off more and more. But I'll get around.
Do you like
to
doing unboxing videos? Do you like doing that? Do you like?
I
doing
do. Yeah, I started.
I know
doing
people
reels.
really like to see it. So
yeah, I feel like like if I'm collecting as many figures as I am, it would just be a waste if I didn't, because it's nice to showcase these figures in case people are on the fence about buying it or wondering about it. So I've been doing Instagram reels because they're just 30 seconds of video, and it's quick and easy. It's because I tried YouTube once, and it took me too much time to edit, and I just never got around to making any videos because of it. But yeah, hang on, I just got the low battery sign again.
seems to be doing okay though.
Okay, good. It says it's charging, so we'll work with that.
Do you take time? Like we have a calendar kind of thing. Like every other weekend, we dust a certain section of ours. Do you have like a dusting schedule? Because I know you're very orderly, so it's my collection.
So I don't have a schedule. I should. I do it more so like if I notice it looks really dusty. These cabinets do a great job at because before I would have to dust every other week at least. But with these, I haven't dusted it in. I don't think I've had to dust in months almost, or maybe there's dust there and I just don't notice it. But yeah, these do a great job because I have I think I have them right next to me actually. I use makeup brushes to dust them.
Yeah.
This one works great. They're cheap and they don't hurt the figures at all. But
I have a very regimented dusting schedule.
Scott does not.
I should dust them more. Like, I don't let my cats in here because their hair dander gets everywhere. And one of my cats has already broken 2 of my figures, so
Oh no.
it was fixable. But I was just like, sorry, cat, you've broken my trust. But
You've broken my trust.
Because when I was at home, like my dog Braxton would be in my room a lot, and his fur I've noticed would float and end up on the shelves. And in here, since there's no animals in here, it keeps the dust very low.
Yeah, and I noticed with like the IKEA, we have a lot of detolfs for ours because we have a lot of the Kotobukiya Pokemon statues and like first 4 figure stuff. It does keep like everything kind of cleaner than I have an open air collection, which my Nendroids are open air, so we do dust those quite a bit. Plus the fact that I take them outside and throw dirt at them doesn't help. So it's like one of those things. So yeah, a lot of cleaning. I just like thinking about things for like collectors that collect and put them back in the box all nice and neat too. There's some good things about it, like the maintenance for it is easier, but sometimes having them out on display, there's other things to think about, like maintenance and cleaning and making sure everything's stored properly. Because you keep the boxes, you were telling me.
I do. Yep, I've got them all stacked in a closet.
So it's perfect. All right, Amy, I think I'm going to have a lovely time with all the editing and everything going on here. And you can send us a couple more photos of like the Geno statue and like a couple things over there on the other side. But thank you so much for coming on and showcasing your amazing self and account and your collection and everything else.
It was a pleasure getting to know you. Great account. And I hope more people follow it and hear this and see it and experience it because it's wonderful. So good at what you do.
Thank you so much for having me on here. It really, like, I never looked at, there's a lot of things you guys both commented on that I never noticed before. And it's just really nice and interesting seeing your perspective. And I really appreciate all the time you took, like, looking through my feed and just coming up with questions. And, like, it really means a lot. Like, so yeah, thank you for that perspective.
You're not going to go away. Hold on.
Well, y'all, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the combined SBN F-Stop Rebel podcast. Truly a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Remember, please do not grow up. It's a waste of time. I am Scott, F-Stop Rebel, and there's obviously Steph.
Yep, I'm still here, and you can find me at Slag My Thrilla or the SBN. You'll see all the credits on the end, but I always want to say, just guys, stay awesome and keep it up.